Welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I'm Tanika, and today we are going to be discussing 90 UK. But before we do, let's hop into some podcast. So this is last week's 90 Day UK, but I should have, this week's episode and potentially next week's episode too around the same time. So let's get into it. So let's do some hot goss. The ultimatum. Queer love is coming for season 2. And I have said to people in my life that I was very upset that I didn't cover the ultimatum season 2. That was at the time also with Ava where we both made a decision together to not do that one and start, because that was it was a decision to start the podcast on either that or Selling Sunset. And we figured Selling Sunset would have been a little easier for us as a brand new podcast. But now I get the chance to cover season 2 and I'm very excited. Season 1 was incredible. And here's what I do know. So season 2 is coming back with, of course, our host, Joanna Garcia Swisher. This time, the spinoff of the OG one that's not that great is touching down with a batch of couples made up of women and non-binary people based in Miami for 10 new episodes. So just like season 1, each couple will face that major crossroad in their relationship. You know, do I stay or should I go kind of situation. So yeah, I don't have much else. I don't know when it's when it's coming. I don't have any other information, but definitely look out for it. I think I can imagine we'll probably get that very soon. I think that's the next iteration for the ultimatum that we're going to be getting. So I think that's great. Looking forward to it. So let's go to the next piece. I'll give you 4 this time just because the first one was pretty short. Don't have a lot of information, so I'll give you 4. So our second piece of hot goss for this episode. As you may know, for those who have been listening to the podcast, we have been kind of following this case that's been going on with Clayton Eckhart, who has never been one of my favorite bachelors. He completely screwed the pooch. He was supposed to be a lot better. We were all rooting for him, and it just didn't go exactly as planned. But if you've been listening to this podcast, you know, or following the news, you know that he has had a paternity case against him by a woman that claims he is the father of her unborn child. He claims they went on a date. I don't even remember he claims they ever even got intimate, or if they did, like, the chances were probably fairly low that he fathered anyone's child. But here's what I have for you. We have the end of the trial. So the case is now over. So here's the update. So he's now kind of in disbelief after recently winning a paternity lawsuit filed against him by a woman who claimed he fathered her unborn twins during a one-night stand. The reality star, who is 31, was pleased with the verdicts because, quote, accountability needed to be had after the identified woman, whose name was revealed in recent court filings to be Laura Owens, publicly accused him of getting her pregnant 9 months ago. Quote, it felt odd that this has been going on for a year. And just now, it's, I guess, ended. Well, that's how civil trials work. A year is actually not that bad. He said, quote, it was very exciting, though, and I was excited to go talk to the other victims and let them know as well. In court documents obtained by People, Arizona Judge Julie Ann Mata found that Owens, quote, knowingly presented a false claim and knowingly violated a court order compelling disclosure or discovery. So, if she's been ordered to prove the paternity of her twins and she refused, that's omission right there. And that's gonna fuck with your credibility, right? That says a lot. I'm going to get my thoughts at the end of what I think about all of this. Let's finish this up. So the judge stated that Owens, quote, acted unreasonably when she initiated litigation without basis or merit, saying without an authentic ultrasound, sonogram, physical examination, and in conjunction with a belief she passed tissue in July 2023, the court finds the underlying petition premature at best. At worst, however, fraudulent and made to incite communication, a relationship, or both with him. As a result, Clayton was granted his petition for non-paternity and payment of his attorney fees. In addition to Mata's ruling, the court also found that Laura Owens has a pattern of similar, if not identical, behavior and court involvement, and passed the issue on to the Maricopa County Attorney's Office for an additional review into her conduct. Like, she could potentially be seen as a vexatious litigator, or litigant, I should say. Not litigator, litigant. Let's continue. Eckhart told People that it felt odd for the legal battles to finally be behind him. He said, quote, I mean, in a weird way, this has been the last year of my life. And not that I wanted to ever go through this, but it almost became a part of my identity for all of the wrong reasons and not what I ever wanted it to be. But it's weird to navigate forward now and say, okay, I'll just put this behind me. He continued, of course, that's what I wanted to do, but it feels like so many emotions are wrapped up, and I think now I just have to be able to take the time to finally break this down in my own head and come to terms with all that has occurred. He also noted that he considers Owen's case being directed to the Maricopa County Attorney's Office as, quote, the ultimate win for me, adding that's what I wanted more than anything else, because at the end of the day, I don't want this to happen again, especially since Clayton stated he believes Owens has quote shown known signs of stopping her behavior in the future. He said, quote, I was victim number 4. Wow, that we know of. And so we felt that especially when somebody commits a crime, they should have to face legal repercussions for doing so. And I 100% agree with him on that. So here's the thing. It's things like this why women are not believed when they need to be believed, when they're not lying. It's women like this person who clearly is going after men, all kinds of different men, doesn't matter their status or whatever, and are going after them for her own gain. And this is also where things can get very dangerous as well. We have unfortunately seen cases of women who are either in relationships, have lied about pregnancies, and will get their hands on somebody who is pregnant, if you get where I'm going with this. And that can become very dangerous in order to keep up her lie. She's clearly very ill, because I don't know where she thinks this is going to go if she is not pregnant. And at that, not pregnant with his kid, it's not going to work out for you. You're not going to win either way, whether you actually produce what they're asking for, you're actually listening to a court order, or you don't listen to the court order. You're not going to win that. And that looks really bad on women who are actually telling the truth. She is not helping. She's making matters very, very, very bad. And I think also I don't know if she knows who Clayton was. I'm not saying Clayton is this huge celebrity or anything like that. I'm not saying that. And I think we're kind of seeing the realities of these people going on a show like The Bachelor or Bachelorette with Joey currently, who, if for those who don't know, I have not talked about it because I don't think it's my business to talk about on this podcast really, but he's going through financial troubles after being on the show. And, they're not well off afterwards necessarily. I mean, he's a real estate agent, so it's, as long as he's doing his job correctly and doing it right, doing it good, he's gonna make a decent amount of money or whatever. But I do wonder if she knew who he was, knows he's a bachelor or was a bachelor, and use that to her advantage. And thought, ooh, jackpot type situation, not realizing that something like this is gonna blow you up. And I do wonder if that's why she decided to go unidentified for as long as she could until she couldn't. So that will be very interesting to see how this plays out with them. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to follow it any further, but yeah, this is definitely a problematic thing. You gotta stop. But I do think there is, I mean, I can only contemplate, I don't know for sure, but I do think there could potentially be some mental illness working in there, or entitlement, or all of the above. Who knows? But happy for him, I guess. I don't like him, like I said, but if this is the truth, is the truth. Happy that the truth came out, no matter what the truth was. Let's move on to the next piece of hot goss. So, we're talking a Married at First Sight alum shared exclusively with people that her and her boyfriend. So I'm talking Paige and Justin Williams, for whom she has just delivered a baby. Well, she delivered the baby, but she had a baby with, are engaged after he popped the question during a romantic date on their 1-year anniversary on April 13th, 2024. Paige reveals that he had taken her to a Ferris wheel to, quote, take pictures of the place where they first met when he surprised her with a proposal. She said, quote, he was just reflecting on the year and a year we had together and how much he loved me and wanted to continue doing life with me. He said he got a necklace for our 1 year, and once I opened it, I saw the ring and was pleasantly surprised. And of course, I do have pictures. Paige shares that she and Williams had been, quote, talking about marriage for quite some time, and his proposal had just solidified our relationship even more. They wrote, or they said to people, quote, for 1324 marks the beginning of forever. Excited to embark on this journey of love and partnership with my best friend, from our first date at the Ferris wheel to a year later with my forever mate. Here's to a lifetime of laughter, adventures, and endless love. So congratulations to Paige. It's like everything is happening for her, and I'm happy for her. I'm happy that she has found her happiness with a man who seems to actually care about her. And I'm happy she came to that realization that, certain things were not going to work, and it completely led her to where she is today. Good for her. I'm happy for her. But yeah, that's that. Of course, the pictures I have, I will post on our socials, but let's head on to the next piece of hot goss, the last piece. And this is with regards to Scott. Is Scott. That's Scott. So he revealed that he's currently dating somebody. But we're going to kind of dig deep with that, thanks to Screen Rant. So he revealed that he's currently dating by posting a cuddly, monochromatic picture with his new girlfriend. However, the woman Scott is with is not someone, quote unquote, new. It's Liz. And if you remember Liz, she is the one that he dumped Lydia for during his first season on this iteration, and that was in Love in Paradise. So Scott wrote, quote, against all odds, I never stopped loving you, in his caption for Liz. He told her that he always believed her and that he just didn't believe in himself. He added the hashtag, this guy, Scott and Liz. Get the fuck out. Like, who else is I'm sure if I were to actually type that, it's only one post and it's his. You know what I mean? Scott has been called desperate not only by Liz, but also 90 viewers. Yeah. He's tried to get multiple women from the show to date him. There are things here I did not know. So let's go through this because, whoa. He's shown interest in everyone from Tiffany Franco, Tiffany with what's his face from South Africa, Ronald, that's it, to Debbie Arguro. Who is that? Oh, Debbie, Miss Debbie. That's who that is, Miss Debbie. Really? Okay, guy, you need help. Okay, let's continue. And his recent crush was on Cleo. Okay, okay. Cleo from Cleo and Christian. Okay, I don't know. I don't know much about much, okay? But he seems to be a person who likes younger women. I don't know if in particular the type of woman, like their ethnicity or anything like that, but he seems to be the type of man who's into younger women. So that's why I'm confused about Debbie, Miss Debbie. And I, I don't know, it feels a little, again, like I don't know if he is attracted to transgender women. And I don't fault him in anything if he is or he isn't. Like I don't care so much about that aspect of it. More so that I care about protecting Cleo from this crazy person who doesn't seem to know exactly what they want. And I actually would fear, I mean, I don't think there's anything to worry about. Anyways, I think Cleo has enough sense in her little head to not go with that. Then again, she was with Christian, but Christian's safer. Weirdly enough. No. Like, is he okay? Like, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I'm so confused. I'm so confused. Anyways. So yeah, Screen Rant continues on by saying, it'll be interesting to see if Scott is back together with Liz or just using an old picture of her to trick fans into believing he's in a relationship. I say that just based on everything else. Scott wants to be known as the franchise bad boy. No, I thought you didn't want to be known as anything having to do with this franchise, Scott. Like, what? Like, no one cares enough. No one cares enough. But he's only coming across as hopeless. Thank you, Screen Rant. So, yeah, he definitely is. And wasn't there like a thing between him and Amanda? Like Daddy's Box Amanda? I I'm so confused. So confused. Anyway, if he isn't with Liz and Liz potentially sees this, how embarrassing. If they are back together, I wish you all the best. Sean Robinson style. So, let's move on to the reason that we are here. 90 Day UK Season 3, Episode 6. I have nothing to hide. So let's start with Sam and Allie. I can't stand her. I can't fucking stand her. I can't. I can't stand her at all. She's an entitled bitch. She's a sex tourist, let's be real. She's everything wrong with the world. Everything. And who knew one person can embody everything that's wrong? But I cannot stand her. I can't. I mean, yeah, he's using her. Let's be real here. And I think the problem is that she knows that. But I don't like how she treats him. It's still not how you treat even an enemy. I'm not moving my bags. I'm not moving my bags. You're lazy as fuck. Do something. You're not a partnership with this person. You're just an entitled kid. Okay, let's get to it though. So, yeah, I think this was after the food situation. So she said, I want to go home because he wants all the attention. With him, he says that we're both in the wrong. So interestingly, so after the food situation and all of that, and again to the fight, she her thing is he just wants all the attention. So now I want to go home because how dare he take all the attention? Whereas he's like, okay, we're both in the wrong for this one. Who knew? Like I mean, she is older than him, yes. She's definitely older than him by, what is it, 5 years? But weirdly enough, he seems to be more mature than her. And this is what it kind of shows, like, age ain't a number. He says that I'm just gonna fix it. So he called her. So that's how actually started. This was the next day. So when she said she wants to go home, she said she wants to like leave Turkey and go home. So he's left to go for a walk, and this is what's happening. So he asked her, "Can you meet me?" And she agrees to, I guess. And he says, "I love you," and it's just a sigh. Now, usually this wouldn't bother me because we've all done it. Someone will tell me they love me. I'm like, okay. Like if I'm mad at you or whatever, like obviously I do, whatever. But it drove me nuts when she didn't say it back because I don't like her. Anyways, so she meets him at like a restaurant, and he gets up. You know, the gentlemanly thing to do, the chivalrous thing to do. He gets up because that's what you're told to do. You get up when a woman's walking to the table. You wait for her to sit. You sit. Like that's the chivalrous thing to do, correct? Who knew chivalry actually isn't dead? He's, he's doing what you do. This bitch literally says to him, "Why are you standing up? Like sit, like ew." Like that was literally the way she was acting. It's like ew. Like why are you standing up for? I can't. I can't. She's obnoxious. I can't with her. Are you kidding me? Ew. Like, uh, I, I mean, I added the ew, but that was her face, y'all. Her face literally looked like she smelled something bad. And I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me? He's actually like doing the thing that I hope that there is a tell-all. And I hope that this person is like, I'm so in the right that I'm gonna go to this tell-all. There better be a fucking tell-all. And they just ream her out. She's horrible. She's horrible. She's so horrible. Anyway. He then apologizes and she starts like talking to him and she's like, there are ways that you don't play with your food. You're not a child. Don't play with your food. Don't play with your food. Do you know he's actually playing with his food? Or is he maybe potentially listening to what you're saying? Maybe he's trying to get the food that he actually wants to eat right now. You don't fucking know. It's really funny that you tell him don't act like a child when you act like a child the entire time. From the moment you saw him to the moment you don't see him, you act like a child all the fucking time. It's really fucking funny, but that's how she talks to him. She talks down to him. And the thing is like, he's gonna take it because his main goal is to go to the UK. And I'll tell you exactly what's gonna happen. He will leave her. And you know what? She fucking deserves it. He deserves it. He deserves that fucking visa. Let him have the fucking visa because this bitch is ridiculous. Don't play with your food. You're not a child. Funny pot kettle. Jesus. Anyway, And she continues on by saying, you should have asked about the call. So this is about the phone call more so than everything else. Because if you remember, and I kind of missed some of this in the last coverage, but she was calling somebody while they were on like this date thing that they were having. And they kind of, I guess, agreed to kind of make it about them. So she called this friend, which I don't fucking understand why she did that, but like you didn't like you don't have to call your friend. It's stupid. And he's like, we just have to get my visa quick so we can meet together. You're my soulmate. I mean, he's really doing it. I'm telling you. Anyway, so we're gonna go dancing at a dance school. If you remember, she says she's a dancer, which even that doesn't look good to me anymore. She's not that good of a dancer. Anyways, she's excited about it. And they get to the class, and the instructor she's pretty. She's not wearing a lot because we're actually going belly dancing. And she walks in. I swear the girl did a double take on Doc and Sam. And she steps in and she's like, nope, nope, not happening. Nope, she's fucking naked. Nope, But the show must go on. She's going to fake her way through this. So they're her belly dancing, like I said. They're kind of, shaking their boobies. And he's like, I have no boobies, so I have to shake my shoulders. And it's not a great dancer, definitely not. And he's like, she kind of looks like one of those things at like the car dealerships, thinking that like the wave the hand things, the go through the wind. If you watch the episode 2, she described it a lot better than I did. And she's like, it's taking her mind off of the teacher. And he says, I cannot look at this teacher because if I do, she will kill me. And so they finish. It was all good. No issues. And he asks, did you like it? Were you jealous? And her reasonings for being jealous in this moment, which I'll give this to her, is she says you have to understand that this person is rail thin, and whatever. If it's about the fact that she's a bigger girl with this guy, I get it. I get it. I get it because a chunkier girl is myself or whatever. I understand it, but I'm gonna trust him in knowing that you're with me because you're attracted to me. Like my ex was the kind of person who preferred to date bigger girls. He's, was more his speed. And, I trusted that. My current, he's dated all kinds of different shape, sizes, races, all of it. And, he doesn't just look at that, but I'm confident in the fact that he finds me attractive in all the ways, and that's comfortable for me. If this guy is telling her he's attracted to her, then believe him. But I do believe, and I said this before, that I think she knows that he is just not that into her. Or I don't even know how I can say that. I do think he kind of is into her. But I think the biggest thing is that she knows he's using me to get to the States. Let's say, sorry, UK. Because, it's obvious. I think we can all agree that he is definitely more excited about being in the UK than with her. But I don't know if he'll stay with her or not for a certain amount of time. I don't know. But I think she's aware, and I think that's the part that scares her. He says, maybe we can go back home and you can show me what you've learned in this class. Okay. So anyway, It's the next day. She says the room was a mess. It's too small, so they're going to be getting a new room. And this is where she fucking pissed me off. She's making him carry all of the bags to the next room, which I don't think is as easy as, roll bags to like a few doors down. Like he has to go like here, there, and everywhere to like get the bags somewhere to the new room. And she's sitting there like, I'm not doing it. He messed up. He should have gotten a better room to begin with. I'm not doing it. The entitlement, the lack of, like, it's not about, like, I would never expect my boyfriend to handle all the bags like that. I would think like, I know he can handle himself, and whatever. And, but I would still want to help because I care about him and I want to help. And it's not just me benefiting from one thing or him benefiting from one. We're benefiting on the same thing. So I'm going to go and I'm going to help. Like, that's what you do. You're supposed to be a team with each other. And you can't even do the basics with him. It's crazy. It's crazy. She's like, do your job properly. Wow. Do your job properly. She doesn't see him as a human. This is the thing. It could be very transactional on his side, but it's very transactional on hers too. She's getting sex. He's getting the UK. It's very transactional between the both of them. And it's crazy. So they're in the room now and they go out for dinner. Now she's paying for the dinner. And she's like, he always orders like the most expensive thing on the menu. In this case, he's ordered a steak. And steaks are not cheap. And she's like, and it's gonna break my bank. And so there's the thing. I do understand this. If she's the one paying for dinner, I'm going to come at her. I'm going to come at him. He should be considering, can she even afford the steak? Steaks are expensive. I don't know what kind of steak that he's eating here. The cut of steak or whatever it is. But I mean, the cheapest steak could be between 35, 40 bucks. That's the cheapest steak, which is cheap and it's not going to be necessarily fun to eat. If you want more of that nicer steak, if like you want a fillet, you could be talking anywhere between 50 to 60, depending on what size you're getting. And of course, I'm going Canadian here, Canadian prices. But if you want like, I mean, I'm not saying it's expensive like a Wagyu or whatever, but some of these fucking steaks can go for hundreds of dollars. The fuck? The fuck? The fuck? And I'm not saying he's going after the really expensive ones, but yeah, they're not cheap. They're not cheap when you can get like a chicken. That's a lot cheaper. So he could consider, can she afford this? I wouldn't just up and ask, can I have a steak when I could have other things on menu? Like, it's not like you're going to like a steakhouse where get the fucking steak because you're at a fucking steakhouse. You know what I mean? But if you can get other things on the menu that's not just the steak, like the steak isn't the thing that's leading this restaurant, you could get something else, right? You could ask her, can I get a steak? And she'll say yes or no. Go from there. The fact that you just assume, oh, I'm gonna get a steak, you're not paying for it. Like, you're not paying for the steak. I would never think, let me just get a steak. Unless it's been planned ahead of time. I want a steak. Like, no. So that's not okay. So he says that he does have to go to work and she worries about them women's around him. And she's like, I don't want you to give the attention you should be giving to me. You know? I don't want that at all. So, but anyway, that's basically it with Sam and uh Ali. Yeah, that's right. Sorry. I blinked. Let's do Nicole and Taher. There's not a lot here really. And then we'll take a quick break. So Nicole and Taher. So she has been in Egypt now for about 5 days. She's like, we're going camel riding. And she's freaking out when the camel stands up or moves or lies back down to get her off. And Taher's just giggling. And she's like, I guess that is just a part of being British. You, kind of like, you get a little bit of freaked out, but in the end, you kind of enjoy it. But, you kind of have to be dramatic a little bit. You're being fake. That's the definition of being a fake. Okay? Anyways, we are headed to Taher's village to see his family. It's about a 5 to 6 hour drive. Yikes. He says in the moment, sorry. Oh, sorry, yeah, no, not says. He yawns in the moment while they're talking, and she's like, I'm sorry, am I boring you? That's nice. Anyway, we talk about her clothing and if her clothing is acceptable and everything in his village, because it is a much smaller village. It's going to be very important to make sure she's adhering to the clothing requirements. And he says there's no issues with her clothing right now. And yeah. Yeah. Well, we're about to see how this really goes. I think clothing is the least of the problem. So we are meeting Taher's oldest brother, who we've seen before, and Taher makes her tea, but he says, I'm always making you things. You never make me anything. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry. Am I supposed to be doing that? Like, the thing is if it's the requirement for her to do something, like to make the tea, for example, and kind of, I hate to use this term, but cater to them, then you should have told her that. She doesn't necessarily know. And you could just help her through that or whatever, right? And he doesn't. Instead, he is kind of being a little bit of a sassy bitch and kind of tells her that way. And she says like, oh, I didn't know. She's like, I'm just like, I'm a guest. And I understand what she's saying. This isn't my home. I don't want to just, if I was her, I wouldn't feel comfortable just helping myself to someone's home. I'm raised in such a way where I don't help myself to people's homes. Now, if I'm close with you, like if you're like Letitia, for example, who I've known for many, many years since I was a child, she's welcome into my home, my fridge, whatever. She's welcome into that. Vice versa. It's different with someone you're around a lot, you're friends with, you're close with, whatever. But usually 9 times out of 10, I do not help myself into people's kitchens, stuff like that. Like it's overstepping. I'm not necessarily saying that's the case here with her, but that could be it. That maybe she is just raised to not help herself to people's homes like this. Even though she's married to him, still not her home in that sense. So she's not going to just help herself. So that could be potentially what she means by it. Maybe she is saying, this isn't my home. How or would say like, how I would deal with him in the UK for the first little bit is the same way that I guess she's expecting he does for her in Egypt. And he loses it. Not really loses it, but he gets a little upset and he's like, don't say that. You're not a guest. This is your second country. And she's like, oh, okay. And the thing is, I hear what he's saying here. I do. But it's still not her home. She sees her home as one thing, you see your home as another. Do you see UK as your second country? I don't think so. So why is it an expectation that she sees Egypt as her second country? Although I hear what he is saying, you know? But just because she's married to an Egyptian does not mean she sees necessarily Egypt as her second country. I'm with a South African. I do not see South Africa as my second country. That is his home. And although I respect the culture, I respect where he's from, I respect the country, I will love to go to his country at some point and be acquainted with that. Because at the end of the day, if I'm going to be with this person for the rest of my life, potentially have children with this person, that's going to be half of them. So I totally understand it, but doesn't mean that I'm here being like, oh, it's my second country. No, I don't know if I'd feel comfortable with that. And they've only been married for a few months. That transition takes time. It doesn't just happen, you know? And they've moved very quickly with their relationship. But anyway, his brother says, Mom is crying all the damn time about you leaving. You could just make a mama cry. I mean, mama's just crying. Okay? You made her cry. Guilting him through his choices to leave, Lord. But they don't agree about how they want to raise their kids. Because the brother does ask, like, if you have kids, like, what that kind of gonna look like, you know? And she does kind of, I think at this point with this conversation, does ask him, like, do you want to raise your kids in Egypt? And she doesn't necessarily want to raise her kids in Egypt. But the biggest thing here, and I think this is showing the reality of, again, something we don't really think about. Obviously, we've had other Egyptians. We've, like, on these shows, we started with Muhammad and Eve. But, I mean, kids anyways, for them wasn't going to happen because Eve was older. And I don't necessarily think she wanted to add more children to the mix when she already had a child with needs. We had Nicole and Mahmoud, and I don't know if they were going to ever really have kids. I don't know if that was ever a conversation that they necessarily had, but we never really had the kid conversation kind of come up with the two of them. This is the first time this is coming up with an Egyptian man. And what he says as a Western person is problematic. And it is something that you really have to think about. Do you really see a future with this person? Because are you going to agree on how to raise your children, and in particular, your girl children? Because he says, I don't want boys over at the house. Because you don't do that. Boys and girls don't commingle unless they're related to each other. They don't commingle. Basically, he doesn't want any freedom for his girls. Because in Egypt, that's not a thing. They're very much still stuck in women have no rights. Women and it's tough for me because I don't agree with it. That's not the world that I want my children to be raised in, nor is it the world that I want to be a part of. So it's really tough for me. However, that is their culture, and it's not going to change because you want it to. I don't know if it ever will. I don't know if it's the country, the religious belief, I don't know. But we have seen, obviously, other Muslim countries not quite do it the way Egypt is doing it. So I think it's a mixture of both. But it's not the world that I would want to be in. So that's me. Which is why I probably would never see myself with an Egyptian man. I've never been with an Egyptian man. Now, if it's an Egyptian man who is a little bit more modernized and doesn't quite see things that way, that's one thing. And that's exactly the thing. I may not be with an Egyptian man, but I am with an African man, which I've obviously said many times already, who comes from a culture very similarly to what we've seen already in other storylines from Africa. Women are not, as respected, and they are told to be submissive and submit to their partner in all ways. My partner does not necessarily abide to that. Now, does he expect a certain level of respect from me? And do I expect a certain level of respect from him? Absolutely. It's pretty equal for the most part. But he doesn't want a submissive girl. He wants someone who's going to challenge him a little bit. That's kind of his turn on. He's all about it. But that's not everybody, right? And that's the case here with this. You did not get a man who is a little more modernized. You got a man who is like, nope, to all that. And the thing is that she's starting, the wheels are turning, because she's like, I don't want to have my daughters potentially feel like they don't have the same freedoms as potentially their brothers in a world, if they're raised in the UK, where that is acceptable to have certain freedoms. He even says, no, my daughters can't talk to boys even on the playground. First of all, she's like, how do you even control that? You can't control that, because obviously in schools, most schools in a westernized country, they commingle. You can't prevent that, right? So she's like, how do you, do that? And yeah, he's just like, no. And she's starting to realize, should I be having kids with this person? Because I don't think there's anything wrong with me. I've had certain freedoms. Yes, as a woman in England, she has certain freedoms that women in Egypt don't have. And he is raised to believe that women shouldn't, right? And yeah, she's like, there's nothing wrong with me. And no, there isn't anything wrong with you. But that doesn't change the fact that he is who he is. And that should also apply to her. Problem is, I don't know if her opinion matters as much to him, because that's how he's been raised. You can take the boy out of Egypt, but you're not going to take the Egypt out of him. So that's something they really need to think about. And I think she's starting to realize, oh, my friend there, she seemed really sad talking about her Egyptian husband. This might be why. And she said, you had to be prepared. She's starting to realize it. Everything seems real fun when you meet a guy while you are sitting beside your supposed to be husband, soon to be husband, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna go to the Egyptian guy, and he seems to accept me because of how he met me, and it's, yeah, I get that, but that's not the reality. Anyway, that is it for Nicole and Taher. We're going to take a quick break here, and when we come back, we will jump in with the next couple. Hi, everyone. So I have a new song for you to listen to. This song is by Anya. It's Aniya, and the song is called Down the Highway. I got this single from the PodSafe music directory on the World Podcast Network. So if you like the song, you can go down to the show notes where you will see links to the song, including from the PodSafe music directory. And I am going to play that song for you now.
I'm driving down the highway. I'm driving down the highway on my own. I wanna see some new places. Will I ever come back home? I'm thinking about the old times. I'm missing the old times when I was young, when I was free and reckless. Now I'm forced to run. Travels. Seems like nothing there's changed at all. But I've grown up, I'm light on trial. So it seems I'm weak and I might fall. I'm better driving down the highway, here where there's no one left to say that I'm a disaster. I'm making trouble every day. Distance to all of you. People do not make me feel good, but I'm secure and free blue. Please don't come along and charge me. I'm a demon for more enemies and foes that like to tell my soul to settle down. Will I ever come back home? Nowadays I'm fighting without travels. Seems like nothing there's changed at all. But I've grown up, I'm light on trial. So it seems I'm weak and I might fall. I'm better driving down the highway, here where there's no one left to say that I'm a disaster. And making trouble every day.
And I am back. So let's jump in with Tony and Nui. Alrighty, guys. So he's meeting Nui at the airport, and she's here, and she says, "He looks so yummy." She's into him. She definitely is. She seems actually in love with him, which is crazy. Like, I just want to change a little bit, maybe. But he drops a bit of a bombshell on her. And he tells her, "So listen, I rent my house out because he's not always there. And, it doesn't seem rational to take care of everything, like the expenses with the home that he's not in all the time. So he rents the house out, which I totally get. I definitely get that. So because of that, because they're not going to necessarily have the privacy that, he wants, he probably doesn't want her to have to be, muffled a little bit, if you get where I'm going with that. You want to be able to have the privacy to not only that, but to also film, right? So he's rented out an Airbnb. And she's a little upset. She's like, "Are you hiding me?" She's like, "I don't feel comfortable with this. Like, like, what's going on here?" And he's like, "No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm just trying to do something that makes a little more sense." He's like, "I'm not cheating or anything." Because she says, like, "My mom told me you might be hiding me from your wife." I don't think that's what's happening at all. But I mean, I think with her mom to saying that on top of, "You're not actually going to my house," I get it. But why can't there be a little bit of a compromise so she can feel like he isn't hiding me? You may not be staying at his house like obviously the entire time, but you could take her to your house and show her your house. You could do that. That way she can see the house. She can see there's no wife. She can see all those things and it's fine. I think that would make sense. But anyway, we're at the Airbnb though. It's a rented apartment. And she says, "It's beautiful, but it's not home." And he says, "I'm not hiding anything. Nothing's hiding. I don't know." And he's like, "Maybe I should cook for you tonight, He's gonna make, I did not write this properly, guys, sorry. Something in mash. Let's see if it comes to me. Bangers, there we go, bangers and mash. That's what he's making for her. But she says, like, he doesn't really know how to cook. And he does leave to go get some stuff for to cook. And she calls her sister. And she tells her, like, we're not even staying at his place. And I think her sister says, "Well, is he hiding a wife?" Wow, guys. Or she might have said that. And her sister says, "Make sure you meet his mom. That will determine if he's lying to you or anything like that." And so, do you want to do a background check? This is we could just do those things real easy. But I think she's gonna hold off on the background check for now. But he's back. And this is kind of where she's like, he doesn't cook. Or at least I don't think he knows how to cook. And he's cooking and he's extremely stressed by cooking. And she says, all he is putting as seasoning is salt and pepper. Where is the fish sauce? The oyster sauce. I don't think you would add fish or oyster sauce to bears and mash. I think those flavor palettes would not work together. Just an idea, personally. But okay. She tries the food. It's like, well, I guess it's fine. She doesn't like it. And he's like, "You just gotta open up your palate, please, sir. You made her what looked like, what was like sausage or something. And I guess like mashed potatoes with only salt and fucking pepper. You don't necessarily need to add these sauces that she's asked about, but you could add some seasoning salt, some paprika, some parsley, garlic powder, onion powder. Where's the other seasonings? It's going to be bland as fuck. And it's like, you can't just add some salt and pepper and hope it tastes good. I don't understand people who only add salt and pepper and think something's going to taste good when you're cooking meat. No. PS fucking A. You add more salt. No, not more salt, sorry. You add more seasoning to your food. It might help it. But this food didn't look fucking good anyways. I would not touch this food. I'm sorry. I just wouldn't. It didn't look appetizing to me. Maybe it's just because I watched you cook it and whatever. But like, Also, no, she definitely didn't try it at that point. But anyways, yes, she does ask him, or she did try it, whatever. I can't remember. She does ask him, Where are the vegetables? Yeah, it's literally, she says it's two colors, brown, white. That's it. There's no vegetables on this plate. That's the thing. You could have added some broccoli, some cauliflower, and that's the way, but it's vegetables. You could have added carrots. You could have added something to this dish that could have given it some oomph, you know? Then he couldn't even do that. And she says that it's a little salty. He's like, but the sauce is rich. What? So you're basically equating that this food is salty because the sauce is rich. No, 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 no. Saltiness does not make your food rich. I don't know what the fuck that makes it, but it doesn't make it rich. Like, don't, don't, don't do it. Don't be out here being like, well, it's rich. No, no. You can't cook. It's fine. She says, I think I'll do the cooking while I'm here. And he's like, she's being so negative. No, sir, you can't fucking cook. So if you want her to be able to eat while she's here, I think that's the right thing to do. She's going to make you some amazing Thai food. She's from Thailand, right? She's going to make you some amazing Thai food. Shut the fuck up. Eat her food. It's going to be fine. Then she mentions calling her family. And she's like, they were nervous because they just don't know if you're being honest with me. Maybe I can go meet your family. And he says, they want to meet you too, because guess what? They're not, your family's not the only one who has issues. So does mine. So they also want to make sure you ain't full of shit. Okay. Seems about right. So it's a little later on and they're getting back from going out. They're having fun. They're definitely drinking, living life. And they seem to have got a good night. And she's cooking some food. And he says, when you cook, it makes me horny. There's so many things that can make you horny, and a woman cooking in a kitchen is what does it for you. That's problematic, at the very least. I mean, you can literally, it's very possible that does everything she does can make him horny. Who knows? I mean, that's my world. But I just like don't know about her cooking in a kitchen is making you horny. Ooh, it's gross. Anyway, he's like, maybe we can have a baby. And she's like, I'm sorry, what? And she's like, we already have kids. No. He's like, no, you do. Which I definitely understand that. She has kids. I do also understand her point of being, but you need to accept my kids as yours as well. So here's the thing. Let's just go through this. So he's like, you have a family with your ex, not with me. They're not my kids. And he gets a little bit rude though. He does. And he's like, understand and respect me. I'm sorry, what? Ew. He's like, I want to have a family. I want to have kids. She does not want to have more kids. And he's like only her feelings matter. Well, when we're talking about having kids, and she's the one who has to carry them kids, yes, her feelings matter a hell of a lot more than yours does. Oh, sorry. Not sorry. The next morning she asks, like, do you think at our age it makes sense to have kids? And he's like, yeah. I mean, you're only 41, like, what the hell? But she's like, but I've done this. But he's like, but the kids, think about the kids. They would love to have a baby brother or a sister. Really? Yeah, but do you know what's entails having said brother or sister? Like, she asks, like, so what happens if I don't want kids? And it's like, well, I guess we'll have to evaluate how this is going to work. So here's the thing. did y'all not talk about this initially? If he wants to have kids, which I get, if you want to have kids, then did you not talk about this? Because you are going to a person who is 41 years old with 2 kids already. It might be possible that she doesn't want to do it again. So, did you not talk about this before this conversation? You know what I mean? I'm on both sides in the sense of he wants to have kids, she doesn't. They both should be respecting each other on that. But the problem is that doesn't work when you are 2 people in a relationship together. I don't know what they should do in this case. I don't think she should have kids with him. I think he's a little bit of a dick. But maybe having a kid would soften that up. I don't know. A soft dick. Everything people want. Oops. But, like, I also understand her not wanting to have kids because it's a lot on your body. Like, it's a lot on your body. Like, I see, like, I'm not going to name names, but I have a friend that, has been pregnant early on in life who is, had pregnancy later on. It's not easy on the body when, when you're even in your 30s, much less in your 40s. It's not an easy thing. And I think men just think because it's the thing women are supposed to do that it's easy, and it's not. Anyway, we'll see how that one plays out. But that's it for Tony and Nui. Let's end off this episode with Charlotte and Johan. So we're checking out another wedding venue, and Johan is actually here with us. We're at another beach because I guess all beaches don't look the same. But she would like a small wedding, as we know. For him, a little bigger, of course we know. We need the food and we need the cake. So how much is that all going to cost with the venue? About $1,600 for a basic wedding. And you would potentially add $50 per person for anything additional. Like $1,600 for the 2 of them. And then it's 50 extra bucks for additional people. Yikes. She's like, so we need to keep it small. Like, how much can we contribute, or how much can he contribute, I should say? And it could just be us. That way we only have to pay the $1,600 or whatever. And he mentioned something about wanting to have friends from England come to the wedding. So hold on. She here asked from England, bringing 2 people, her mom, her sister. You don't even live in the UK, nor have stepped foot in the UK, and you have friends that are in England. Now, are they Dominican Republic? Like, are they from the DR who've moved to UK, or are these people that he met on the job? Like, I'm so confused. But why do you have to have Tom, Dick, and Harry at your wedding? You don't need to have Tom, Dick, and Harry at your wedding. If you could limit it and say, we're just doing family. She has her 2. He can bring his mom, his grandma, and I don't know if he has any other siblings, but the brother or whatever, or any other siblings. Potentially, the brother, you might be able to get away with not having to give a full plate for the kid. We'll see. But at the very least, you have an additional $500 on 500. That's okay, right? Hold on, math, guys. $250. Okay, additional. Done. Why does he have to have everybody? You know what I mean? Anyway, friends from England. Is this man nuts? Now, anyway, we're going to go see his grandma. She's never met her before. And there is no running water in the home, she notices. She says it's a very basic home. And he asks her, do you want to live here with me? Silence, not a damn thing. And she's like, I think we will live in England. What do you think? So Charlotte is buying lunch for everybody as a thank you for welcoming her into the home. I gotta say this before I finish this. Charlotte has grown on me because she gets it. She understands the assignment here. And I actually kind of like her. Like, she's not like my favorite person, but I like her enough, you know? And that's all you can ask from me, okay? So, her grandma says that she is good with him living in the UK because it is going to be a better opportunity for him. He'll, than being here, and she gets that. She's okay with that. And just like his mom, Charlotte will help his grandma to the best of her ability, which is all you can ask for. So they're having dinner on the beach, and she bought him a watch. And I can't tell what kind of watch that is. I can't tell if that's a Citizen. I can't tell if that's a Rolex. I can't tell what kind of fucking watch it is. But I'm real curious to know what kind of watch this is. It's probably not a Rolex. But anyways. She says he deserves this because he gives so much to his family, who he takes care of. And she wants to take care of him. He starts crying about his family, helping them while they're in the UK. And he says that we have to give some money to my mom and my grandma tomorrow, I think. And she asks how much. And he says, my mom's $60. My grandma, 80. And she's like, that's a lot. What does she need it for? Like, I think she says the 80 is a lot. He's like, rice, life. She does say, like, taking care of the family, it's going to be a lot of responsibility. It is going to be a lot of responsibility, but you know what you're signing up for. You do. You don't get to take the Dominican out of the DR and not take on the responsibility of said Dominican's family. So the next day, we see that she's going to be leaving. So this was quick. She said that she will be back in 6 weeks. And this is why I'm confused. Weren't they supposed to be getting married on this trip? That's why they made it seem. It's really weird. But she says, she will be back in the 6 weeks. I'm thinking, okay, she's going to be back in 6 weeks because that's when they're going to get married. But he tells her, no, in 4 months, you need to save up the money for the wedding. So when are they getting married? He's like, 6 weeks is too soon. And she's like, well, are you not going to talk? Sorry, I said that wrong. Well, you're not going to be talking to people, though, right? He's like, no, I won't. And in the moment, he says, I want to go to England because there's more money. I can help my family. And as she's leaving, she leaves her bank card with him. So this will be interesting to say the least. But that's basically it for 90 Day UK for this episode. I am going to try my best to make sure I get the next episode to you guys really soon. Please tell me the 7th episode we finally get I Love You Chicken, because this is fucking ridiculous. We probably only have like maybe 12, 13 episodes. Where the fuck are they? Okay, maybe 14. Where the fuck are they? Anyways, that is it for 90 Day UK. So if you like what you heard, please rate, review the podcast on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, don't forget that you can also share us with everyone in your life if you really love this. And I do want to read those reviews. I'm definitely getting 5-star ratings, but I want to read those reviews. So send me those reviews and I will read those 4 and 5-star reviews on the podcast. Also, we're on every one of your favorite podcast apps, every one of them, including you can find us on YouTube at Reality Tea Times 2. If you want to connect with us, you can do so by going to either Facebook or Instagram at Reality Tea Times 2. You can also find us on Twitter, TikTok, Reddit, and Reality Tea Times 2 Pod. We also have our email, which is at realityteatimes2@hotmail.com. Definitely want to hear from you guys. And we also have our new website where you can listen to all of these episodes. You can review the podcast on there as well. You can connect with me in any way, all the stuff. It's all there, and you can find me there at www.realityteatimes2, all spelled out, .podpage.io. It's there. And don't forget, I also have my other podcast with my friend Nicole, Next Take Podcast, where we talk about all kinds of different topics. But you can find us on any of your favorite podcast apps over there as well. Or you can also go to YouTube, and you go to Next Take Podcast, as well as our website, which is solo.to/Next Take Podcast. So yeah, there's that, and that's basically that. And again, don't forget, if all of this information is overwhelming, we do have all of the links, everything in our show notes. But that is it for now, guys. Thanks. Bye.